Hi guys, me again. So today I pulled the big guns out. I've got my heated blanket on. It is so cold. It's like -3. And I've also got a bowl of oats, porridge oats, and I have mine with raisins and cinnamon. Love it. I use a little bit of water and milk. And today I've got some sliced almonds in here as well. I really like it with sunflower seeds. So, in my last video, I talked a bit about my my food anxiety. That's what I would call it anyway. I've had it since my son was born. I found a way to cope with it, and I thought I'd share with you a couple of the things that I do to get over my food anxiety. I've always been the same, whereas when I shop, I don't shop just for that week. So we eat every single thing and there's nothing left in the cupboards. I always used to shop and have a few extra things. It's how I was brought up as well. Always remember, in the first house that we lived in the kitchen there was like this corner unit, and you opened 2 doors and we had this spinny plastic thing inside, like 2 shelves, and in there my mum and dad would always have tins of food, and we would always have a chest freezer outside in the outhouse. We had a really big family. We had my grandma from my mum's side, and we also had my dad's mum and dad, my grandma and granddad from his side. My sisters are a lot older than me, so by then they had families as well and they were having children. And so yeah, I always grew up in a house with lots and lots of people, but that's something my mum and dad always had in. They always had food, they always had spare food in, just in case. My anxiety kicked in and I thought, oh gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So that's where the idea of the prepping pantry came in. So yeah, that's one thing I do to get over my food anxiety, is I have like a prepping pantry. I call it a prepping pantry. It is nothing like, I know people in America are massive on prepping pantries. It's nothing like that. It's literally a couple of cupboards filled with food. Another thing I do is I batch cook. So I fill my freezer, I go through my freezer, see what kind of food I've got, and then if I can make meals out of it, then I know that my son is okay and he can eat. I did a bit of a batch cook just before he went back to school. So I went to Aldi, I got a few bits, I used bits from at home, from my prepping pantry, from the freezer, and I made this food and I filled my freezer up. And when I open it and I know I've got meals there, it just calms me. So yeah, 2 things I do to get rid of my anxiety. 1 is I batch cook, and 2, I have my prepping pantry. I just thought I'd talk a bit about a prepping pantry because it's helped me so much. You know, it might help somebody. I've made some notes down here, so that's what I'm looking. So a prepper's pantry is like a food pantry, but it's well thought out. It's more detail gone into it, and it's just perfect for people who want to be prepared. It might help elderly people, it might help big families with children, you know, if you've got any dietary needs, if you've got any allergies. People do it for all different reasons. And like I said, in the UK, it's not as big as it is in America. Okay, so starting a prepping pantry, what do you do? How do you do it? And like I said, I haven't got like a massive room to store my food to make this huge, amazing prepping pantry. Oh, I get prepping pantry envy so much when I see these beautiful rooms and shelves, and they've got all these beautiful canned foods that they've done themselves. They prepare, you know, preserve themselves. Mine is my old heater boiler. I had an old boiler water tank in a cupboard in my kitchen when I first moved in this flat, and it was condemned, so I got a new combi boiler, so they took it out and I made that cupboard, put some shelves in it, and I made that cupboard into my prepping pantry. A cupboard. But it doesn't matter if that's what you've got, that's what you've got. You've got to, you know, be realistic when you're starting a prepping pantry. Have I got room? How much room have I got? And it doesn't even matter if you've just got a small cupboard like mine. It helped me so much, and I stored it under my bed as well. My bed's on legs and I've got storage underneath. It needs to be somewhere cool and dry, because you don't want it getting mouldy if there's moisture getting in. You don't want it freezing if it's too cold, because things can blow. So yeah, it's got to be cool and dry. Another thing is you want to make sure it's pest proof. You don't want to get rodents in, because you don't want to buy all this food just to feed the the mice and whatever else can get in. And another thing, a lot of people ask, and like, how much food do you store? And the general guide, what I can find, is people like to start working up towards 3 months worth of food, and that's what I did. 3 months worth of food, 2,000 calories per person per day. So it depends on what your household needs. Start in a prepping pantry, have a look how much room you've got. Okay then, so what food should I stock? And this is stuff that I've got off the internet that I started with. This is where I started. I looked on YouTube, I looked on the internet, what kind of things would be good to store in the prepping pantry. And then I got in my mind, do we eat that? I'll say this maybe a few times in this video, sorry, there's no point storing food if you don't eat it. Oh, I have made this mistake so many times in so many different ways. Number one, growing food on the allotment that we don't eat. We do, but we're not that keen on it, but I'm growing it because it's fashionable, everybody else is growing it, and yeah, I don't know even why I grow it. It's just probably so I can say I've grown it. That took me a few years, and I know it sounds silly, but people do it, I've done it. Okay, the second thing is buying food because it's on a special offer or a good deal, but we don't really eat it, but it was a bargain. It's not. If you don't eat it, it's not a bargain. So there's no point storing food in your prepping pantry if you're not going to eat it. I know people say desperate times, desperate measures, but why take up that valuable space with something you don't really not keen on, but it stores long? Just keep that in mind. The things that are really good for keeping in prepping pantries: soft grains, oats, porridge oats are amazing. I love them. I love them. So that's why I buy them. They're cheap, they're filling, they warm you up. You can add it to food to make it stretch longer. I think I mentioned this in the last video. It's great for Oh, the sky's going really dark here. I'm on snow watch. It's really good for adding to mincemeat to make things go further. So you can add it to mincemeat if you're making meatballs or chili or beef burgers, meatloaf, lasagna, bolognese, you know, that kind of thing. It's really good to put in mincemeat, and it lasts so long. If you store it correctly, even though it says use by date, best before date, it can last up to 8 years, maybe up to even 20 years if you do it properly. Another good one is quinoa. It's gluten-free, it's high in protein, it contains all 9 of amino acids, and it can last up to 5 years. So that's the kind of things you wanna store. Oats, quinoa. Then you've got things like buckwheat, corn flour, flax, wheat, and they last between 12 and 30 years if stored correctly. Things with a higher oil count don't last as long. They don't store as long. They turn rancid. The oils in it turn rancid. So brown rice and barley, they have a higher oil content, so they can go off quicker. Dry beans last ages, you know, they can last up to 10 years. and they're full of protein. Some beans are better than others, so kidney beans, pinto beans, black beans. Per cup of those beans you get 15 grams of protein. Ace, amazing. Dry beans are really good. You've got things like split peas are really good. Chickpeas are amazing, tinned or dried. Mung beans. Soya beans have a higher oil content, so they don't last as well, so just bear in mind that if this is dried, you know, if you've got them in the freezer then they will last longer, it's fine, but this is just in our prepping pantry in the cupboard. Another amazing thing to have is honey. Now then, honey lasts for 12 months. That's its best time to eat it, within 12 months. But honey has no sell-by date really, or use before date, or best before date. It can last hundreds of years as long as it's sealed and stored properly. You can have like things like nuts and seeds, but because of their high oil count, they don't last that long, so you need to eat them quite quickly. So I do have some nuts and seeds in my cupboard, absolutely, but if you put them in the freezer they last longer. Another thing that is suggested to store is dried fruit and vegetables. I'm not massively, I don't dry that much, I don't have that much dried vegetables, but I do have a lot of dried fruit, and I have a lot of raisins and apricots and cranberries. Those are my main three things that I like to have. You can have things like banana, carrots, onions and things like that. They're really good. I've got mushrooms as well. I do have mushrooms. You know, there's loads of things you can have. Again, just get the stuff that you like to eat. Oh, tins. I have a lot of tins in my cupboard. So I have tin soups, I have tin tomatoes, beans, spaghetti, vegetables, carrots, peas, potatoes. I have fruit, all tins of sweet corn, lots and lots of tins. I think that's a great thing to have. Jars of sauces, so like pasta sauces, curry sauces, just sauces, loads of sauces. You can't go wrong with them either. Cooking oil, like coconut oil. Now then, my oil, I have some like olive oil in plastic bottles. I use lard and I also use butter. But I put them in the freezer. I store them in the freezer. Instant potatoes, that's a good one to have. We've got lentils, quinoa, couscous. I have all those kind of things. Now then, pasta. The reason that I get pasta is, and I get a lot of it, because it lasts so long. Really cheap to get. Flour, I have plain flour, self-raising flour and bread flour. The only thing is with self-raising flour, the self-raising goes after about 3 months, I think they say. So I always have baking powder, baking soda, yeast, which I store in the freezer, sugar, white and brown sugar, salt, do you want vinegar, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, stock cubes, marinades, powdered marinades, the sachets you can get, spices, herbs, condiments, sauces, mayonnaise, tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, Branston pickle, piccalilli, all those kind of things. Jars of pickles, jars of gherkins. You can also go down the route of freezer dry meals. They are really expensive, but if that's something you want, then you can get freezer dry meals. You just add water to them basically. Oh, I haven't mentioned tinned meats as well. You need tinned meats and tinned fish. And then the last thing I would say is things that you can make meals out of as well. If I know I could go in my prepping pantry now and make breakfast, I could make lunch, I could make dinner, I could even make a dessert if I wanted to. Or UHT milk, you know, to go with your tea, coffee, hot chocolate, your drinks, squash. So there is loads of stuff you can put in your prepping pantry and loads of places to start. The main ones I would start with, which I did, was rice and pasta, because it was cheap. Really cheap. I also got a few jars of sauce, oats, and a few cans of veg. So then I knew we were sorted for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And that's how I started, and then I added onto it. And then I started getting a few different sauces. So first of all, I'd get a tomato based sauce, then I'd get a curry sauce, and then I'd get some kind of fancy sauce to go on chicken. So I hope that's given you some idea of how to start your prepping pantry. You don't need to start off going out and buying a whole load of food because, you know, money's really tight, but just buy some extra food every week. I've got one cupboard that I use every day, and I've got my prepping pantry. But I will show you that on the next video. This video is just to give you some idea of what a prepping pantry is, if it's something that you're interested in, how to start it and what to buy. And I would just say, if you're interested in starting a prepping pantry, or maybe not, just get a little bit of extra food in. It's helped me so much. I do still worry, don't get me wrong, it hasn't gone away, but I know how to manage it, I know how to deal with it, and so yeah, it just helps me so much. So if it would help somebody else, then I just share with you what helps me. So take care guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.